Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Higher Consciousness. My name's Alexis, and today I have an astrological video for you about this next upcoming full moon on March 28th, 2021. This next upcoming full moon is in the social sign of Libra. The full moon in Libra is time for the wounded healer's story and love life to be brought to light. And this is influenced by many cosmic body placements and aspects on March 28, 2021, which include the conjunction of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in Aries, and the illumination of the full moon in Libra. During each full moon, new beliefs and thought patterns are being acted upon and brought to light, as demonstrated by the Sun's active energy illuminating the full moon. During the full moon in Libra, there's a beautiful energy defined by the empowerment of the divine feminine. The divine masculine adorns and partners with the divine feminine as represented by the masculine Sun in conjunction with the female planet Venus and in opposition to the feminine planet, the moon. The divine feminine is empowered by the loving, healing, action-orientated, and passionate characteristics of the divine masculine, which is demonstrated by the qualities of the Sun being in Aries and the moon being in balance with the Sun. The divine feminine energy during the full moon is confident, flirty, and social, which is demonstrated by the moon being in Libra and the Libra's ruling planet, Venus, being in opposition of the moon. When Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in Aries, there's balance found with the moon being in the opposite sign of Libra, the sign of the balancing scales. I will be further discussing this, the meaning of the conjunction of Sun, Venus, and Chiron in Aries in a little bit. I'll be addressing first the planetary zodiac sign alignments during this coming full moon. First of all, Pluto is still in Capricorn. This planet symbolizes that truths continue to be revealed about our daily structures and routines, as well as about authorities and governing structures. If you remember, Pluto is an outer planet, so this means that it takes much longer to circulate the Sun, and therefore it stays in that sign much longer than the inner planets. So this is an ongoing trend that a generation of people will be experiencing. Jupiter and Saturn are still in Aquarius, the sign of social change, the sign of innovation, the sign of rebellion and breakthrough moments. This represents the expansion and contraction of our social networks that we are experiencing at this time. There's great potential for growth or lessons to be found in the way that we network and share our voices through technology. Next, Uranus is still in Taurus. This placement symbolizes a time of being able to manifest income in innovative and creative ways. If this sounds familiar, it's because Uranus is the planetary ruler for the sign of Aquarius, which we just discussed. Mars is still in Gemini. This represents a time of short-term communications and an active social life. That is its positive connotation. On a negative connotation, it might also make us very quick to act and slightly impulsive. So we have this contrast that it's actually quite strong in initiative energy that helps us get going, but it can also be an impulsive energy. So being very aware of our tendencies to be quick moving at this time. While zodiac sign alignments identify ongoing life themes, planetary configurations identify what changes are occurring. Planetary configurations describe a planet's relationship to other planets, and these relationships changes influence the shifting energies in astrology. The first planetary configuration that I have to mention is that Mercury and Neptune are conjunct in Pisces. Actually, they're almost conjunct in Pisces during the full moon, leading up to a full conjunction on March 30th. Neptune is in its own house and zodiac sign of Pisces, which is correlated to the 12th house of the zodiac wheel. and its energy in conjunction with Mercury just amplifies the appeal of the transcendental and the mystical. With communicative Mercury conjunct the mystical planet Neptune, you are being called to speak your universal truths and to raise awareness of important causes. If you're not prepared to share a passion that is personal with a large audience, then it's time to have a personal conversation with yourself and identify when and where you have felt spiritually uplifted and when you have felt spiritually lost, to assess your life direction. And the big topic today, the big astrological configuration of this particular day, is that the Sun, Chiron, and Venus are conjunct in the sign of Aries. When the planet of identity, the Sun, aligns with the planet of love, Venus, and the asteroid of healing, Chiron, we are prompted to put energy into our self-healing process so that we can better nurture ourselves and those that we love. You may be prompted to raise awareness of a cause that you have healed from out of your love for the well-being of others. This is true for both feminines and masculines that have healed, but there's a special message for those identifying as feminine, with Venus in Aries and with the Sun and Venus quickly approaching Ceres, the asteroid that represents motherhood. At this time, women are rising into leadership that have healed themselves. A healed individual feels at home in their body and radiates a joyful glow that naturally attracts abundance. They're beautiful on the outside, healed on the inside. With the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in Aries, you are being called to connect more deeply with your partner or love interest, with your mentor or your spiritual community, and with yourself. You are empowered by the loving acts of others. They inspire you to have more love for yourself. From this self-love, you recognize aspects of yourself reflected within your family, your friends, your community, and you are inspired to give back to them in a balanced act of reciprocity. This is a time for those who have healed to rise. Neptune and Venus are in a yod aspect with the moon on the day of the full moon. If you've checked out my previous recording, you'll notice that I've spoken about yods before. Yods are a spiritual time in which two zodiac signs side by side, and then we have an opposing planet on the other side. So there's this spiritual approach happening with this opposition in this triad. This yod is occurring on Saturday, March 27th, just before the full moon. It represents that the efforts of the divine feminine are being put to a spiritual test. For example, you might be feeling like you need to cry, and this is okay because it will be cathartic and it will encourage you to grow. This yod will be a spiritually enlightening moment for those who are in touch with the feminine side of themselves, whether male, female, or two-spirit. It may cause an individual to desire a rebirth of their feminine sides and to have a great potential for quick manifestation. This placement will create balance through integration of all the elements as moon straddles the earth sign of Virgo and the air sign of Libra. Venus is in the fire sign of Aries and Neptune is in the water sign of Pisces. The incorporation of all the elements resembles the qualities of the Magician card in tarot. It represents that we are at our fullest potential when we nurture and are healthy in all aspects of ourselves. Intellectually, as represented by the element of air, spiritually, as represented by the element of fire, emotionally, as represented by the element of water, and physically as represented by the element of earth. Mars is squaring Mercury and Neptune. So we already talked about Mercury and Neptune being side by side. Well, Uranus is in a square, which means that it can be at odds to these other aspects, these other planets. When Mars squares Mercury, methods of communication may feel readily available. You might have your phone here next to you. You might be able to pick up it right away or just quick chat online. Communication is readily available, but it's an important time to be aware of bold and aggressive tones within yourself and as demonstrated by others, just because of how accessible that technology, that communication is. Now is the time to catch these behaviors before they become habits. It's a time for working on more healthy forms of communication. When Mars squares Neptune, it's important to separate fantasy from reality, as there is a tendency to indulge in delusions that you think will fulfill you. It may make you feel mentally and spiritually attacked when you find that it doesn't completely satisfy you, and here you are experiencing a short-term loss to redirect your intentions towards ongoing, long-lasting gains. Uranus is squaring Jupiter. Again, squares are kind of challenging aspects, but they lead to growth. So when Uranus squares Jupiter, we are encouraged to speak out and to be a trendsetter. But we also need to separate healthy, beneficial risks from unhealthy, destructive risks. If you're stepping out into the public eye with your rebellious nature, be aware that it will take commitment to see results. But know that your actions will have a ripple impact on your community. Moon is in trine with Pluto. Trines are more harmonious aspects of configuration of planets. During this placement, we are discovering truths about our subconscious mind, our inner self. You are prompted to free yourself from old thought patterns and habits that are no longer serving you. By coming in touch with your emotional desires and intuition, you are adapting new self-care habits and ways of perceiving into your life. Now that I've talked about the planetary aspects and positions during the time of the next full moon, let's also talk about which each zodiac sign should expect this March 28th, 2021. Starting with Aries. Aries, Sun, Chiron, and Venus will be conjunct in your first house of self. The spotlight is on you, your love life, and your capacity to overcome challenges. You are likely moving into a new chapter in your love life by deepening the commitment in your relationship. A community of support is building around you that is expecting your help. Just remember to also tend to yourself. Mercury and Neptune are in your 12th house of sacrifice and undoings. You may feel called to nurture yourself in solitude, to receive messages from your guides, or you may feel drawn to serve and give in places where people are othered, such as jails, hospitals, shelters, and streets where there are homeless dwellers. You have the potential to provide healing to yourself and to others through various forms of communication and mediums with the talkative planet of Mercury in the karmic 12th house. Mars in your 3rd house of communications is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 12th house. So be prepared to diffuse short, aggressive communications by gaining awareness that they started from delusions and miscommunications. Uranus in Taurus and your 2nd house of values and finances indicates that you are able to generate income through rebellious acts or in odd jobs that test your limitations of what is considered work. Moon in Libra in your 7th house of partnerships is in opposition of the Sun. Moon in Libra in your 7th house of partnerships is in opposition of Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 1st house of self. The Sun, which represents the identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, and the beautiful and social sign of Libra, so that you may act upon your desires of having fun and meaningful relationships that add excitement to your life. Thank you so much, Aries, for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Take care, and we'll see you again soon. Bye. Taurus. Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in your 12th house of undoings. You are called to connect with yourself, your partner, and your community through acts of selflessness and spirituality. You are finding renewed purpose and passion in your life through self-healing, and it's inspiring you to commit to new business ideas and to treating yourself with gratitude and to take your existing relationship to the next level. Mercury and Neptune are in your 11th house of friendship and invention. You are being called to speak about spirituality, the healing arts, or about charitable causes with your social circle. During this placement, your thoughts may be racing with inspirational insights picked up through your social encounters. You have the potential to provide healing to others through inventing a new tool or getting others to try an innovative activity. Mars in your 2nd house of values is squaring Neptune and Mercury in your 11th house, demonstrating that your efforts to gain income and security are challenged by your desire to gift your community with your creative and innovative practice. Uranus and Taurus in your 1st house of self indicates that you will receive attention for paving your own pathway, and it will provide you with a foundation of support to keep building onto. Moon in Libra in your 6th house of health and habits is in opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 2nd house of values and security. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, in the beautiful and social sign of Libra to remind you to balance your energy exerted into work and career development with energy recycled back to yourself through your healthy self-care routine. Gemini, Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in your 11th house of invention and community. You are called to share updates with your community so that you may be supported and uplifted for your efforts to reach your personal and relationship goals. Energy follows intention, so by publicly sharing your intentions, you are likely to speed up the process of manifestation. Mercury and Neptune are in your 10th house of career and status. You are being recognized for your ability to intellectualize and communicate about spirituality, creativity, and healing. It is causing you to go through a status upgrade. If you are hesitant about the incoming appraisal, then reflect back to the nature of children, just learning how to perceive and interact with other children, and notice that it takes time to develop life skills that impact our ethics and interests. You're invited to respond to your community with a quick gesture of acknowledgement, at least, and to respond to those who treat you well with love and compassion. Mars in your 1st house of self is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 10th house of career, demonstrating that your hidden talents may affect your status, as they are likely to be publicly revealed with all the new eyes on you. Uranus and Taurus in your 12th house of undoings indicates that you are obtaining financial security through work that serves a humanitarian cause or a job that goes against societal rules of what is a job. Moon in Libra in your 5th house of pleasure is in opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 11th house of friends. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, in the beautiful social sign of Libra to remind you that you can count on your friends in your community to spark your creativity, from which you will find art making for the sake of collective expression to be very fulfilling. That's all I have for you, Gemini. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe down below, and stay tuned for more content. Take care. Bye. Cancer. Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in your 10th house of career and status. You are drawing in big fated changes to your career, including the career that you see yourself in and the careers that are attracted to you. Likewise, there's potential for change in your love life by taking an existing relationship or a new relationship to the next level, or in developing a crush on someone who works hard. Mercury and Neptune are in your 9th house of philosophy and travel. When these planets transit the 9th house, it demonstrates that you are thinking and gaining knowledge from an analytical yet spiritual approach. You may be feeling divinely guided or intuitively called to research and practice holistic wellness and spirituality. You have likely been drawn to the mystical and seeking education within its disciplines since Neptune has been in Pisces in your 9th house of knowledge, starting in February 2012 and ongoing until 2025. Now with Mercury also in your 9th house of philosophy, you are being called to raise awareness of social injustices and to raise the collective consciousness through demonstrations of unity and reciprocity. Mars in Gemini in your 12th house of undoings is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 9th house of knowledge, demonstrating that your actions towards speaking up for the misrepresented and oppressed may sometimes be at odds with your educational pathway. While there are strong coinciding themes between your career development and your charity work, it is important to note that social activism is available to all in the short-term moments, but that sometimes having long-lasting impacts requires years and generations of academic stewardship. Uranus and Taurus in your 11th house of friends indicates that you will have the potential to feel more secure and financially stable by picking up odd jobs available through your community. Specifically, that message was received that you will be picking them up from your community. You will be picking them up by who you know and by word of mouth. By putting yourself out there in a social online presence, you will receive abundance of opportunities in return. Moon in Libra in your 4th house of home and family is in opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 10th house of status. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, the subconscious desires, in the beautiful sign of Libra, to remind you that your successes in your career and relationship are a reflection of your home life being more in balance. So that's all I have for you, Cancer. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I look forward to seeing you in a future reading. Take care. Bye. Leo. Sun, Chiron, and Venus are in your 9th house of education and travel. You are moving into a time of a new beginning, new beginnings in educational pursuits after a time of self-healing. There's also great potential that you may be moving into the next chapter of your love life, whether it be with an existing partner or a new love, or if you've just grown to love yourself unconditionally. Mercury and Neptune are in your 8th house of transformation. When these planets transit the 8th house, it demonstrates that you are retreating from your communications and your public persona to tend to yourself more spiritually, and to feel and sort through emotions that you aren't quite comfortable conveying to your community just yet. Neptune has been in your 8th house of transformation since February 2012, and it will be there until 2025. So you have been reflecting upon and questioning spirituality, religion, and philosophies that you have been raised into believing for quite some time. Now with Mercury also in your 8th house of reincarnation, you are being called to research your beliefs as to the meaning of life and to research your beliefs on the afterlife. Through social engagements and quick communications, your spiritual beliefs are becoming solidified. Mercury and Gemini in your 11th house of community is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 8th house of undoings, demonstrating that your quick and sometimes impulsive social actions may be challenging you in uncomfortable ways after growing accustomed to the comforts of knowing yourself more and feeling more at home in your own retreat space. You are encouraged to engage in healthy social opportunities that are presented to you, as this will build momentum towards your intentions to reveal a new, more spiritual version of you. Uranus and Taurus in your 10th house of career and status reveals that you will build a successful career out of a discipline that is innovative and unheard of by the average adult. Moon and Libra in your 3rd house of communication is in opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 9th house of knowledge. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, and the beautiful sign of Libra to remind you that your pursuits for higher education and long-distance travel are attained through sharing your voice and becoming comfortable with short-term trips. That's all I have for you, Leo. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like and subscribe down below, and I look forward to seeing you in a future reading. Take care. Bye. Virgo. Venus, Sun, and Chiron are conjunct in your 8th house of transformation and reincarnation. You may be feeling a need to retreat from the public eye and to feel safe in your love life while you work towards self-healing. You may be working to improve your personal finances and assets, as well as to support your partner or love interest, and to invest in your ability to be of service in healing others. Mercury and Neptune are in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships. When these planets transit the 7th house, it demonstrates that you are finding communicative and mystical qualities within people to be attractive and interesting. Neptune has been in your 7th house of partnerships since February 2012, and it will continue to be there until 2025. So you have been expanding your social circle to allow in those who share similar perspectives on universal truths. Now with Mercury also in your 7th house of partnerships, you are being called to share insights that you have been acquiring for years. If your relationship with a partner has been growing, then now you may be prompted to speak about it. Mars and Gemini in your 10th house of career is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 7th house of community, demonstrating that your quick actions towards your career development may be at odds with your ability to speak your truths to others outside of your social circle. While you are developing a strong presence in your social group at this time, you are being reminded that it is helpful to expand your outreach even more to see results in your business and career. Uranus and Taurus in your 9th house of knowledge implies that you are gaining self-confidence and building your value system through higher education in an eccentric field. Moon in Libra in your 2nd house of security is in opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 8th house of transformation. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, in the beautiful sign of Libra to make you more aware that losses and life challenges are strengthening your value system as they are lessons learned. That's all I have for you, Virgo. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for future content. Take care. We'll see you later. Bye. Libra. Sun, Chiron, and Venus are conjunct in your 7th house of partnerships. You are likely very social and find fulfillment in your immediate relationships. If you are in an existing or new relationship, then you are releasing old wounds and you are ready to commit to a new level of love. If you are single, then you are learning to love yourself more through forgiveness and self-healing. Mercury and Neptune are in your 6th house of routines and health. When these planets transit the 6th house, it demonstrates that your communication style and perspective may be disrupting or changing your work or health routine. Neptune has been in your 6th house of health and habits since February 2012, and it will continue to be there until 2025. So you may have been feeling uncertain about your dream career or lack direction in your self-care routine. While Neptune is in your 6th house, you may benefit from bringing mystical motherhood aspects into your career, or by bringing in a workout that changes the way that you perceive the world, such as dance, yoga, or gymnastics. Now with Mercury also being in your 6th house of health, you are being called to implement quick workouts into your daily routine to make others aware of your fitness and health goals. Mars and Gemini in your 9th house of knowledge is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 6th house of health, demonstrating that your pursuit of knowledge is flighty and whimsical sometimes, but you are spiritually driven to gain the skills you desire to have a lasting impact on healing yourself and in providing healing to others. Uranus in Taurus in your 8th house of transformation suggests that you may find security in being an outlier and a trendsetter. An unusual job may bring you much abundance, but having awareness of your previous destructive behaviors will allow you to create a healthier work ethic in this industry. Moon and Libra are in your 1st house of self, which is in opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 7th house of partnerships. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, which represents your subconscious desires, in the beautiful sign of Libra, to make you aware of the influence that your close relationships are having on how you feel about yourself. That's all I have for you, Libra. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for more content and hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye. Scorpio. Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in your 6th house of health and routine. You are likely to refine your self-care practice and freshen up your work and home environments. With the planet of love and the asteroid of healing aligning with the planet of identity, your improved lifestyle is likely due to you trying to catch the eye of your love interest or partner and in demonstrating to yourself that you have healed. Mercury and Neptune are in your 5th house of pleasure and creativity. When these planets transit the 5th house, it demonstrates that you find great joy in engaging in conversations about the mystical and occult topics and practices. Neptune has been in your 5th house of pleasure since 2012, February 2012, and it will be there until 2025. So your true passions and creative pursuits may have been hidden from you for a while, unless you are very comfortable with not having all the answers and trusting the process of self-discovery. Now that Mercury is also in your 5th house of creativity, you are being called to sample creative classes in mediums that interest you and to send invitations out to your social group. Mars and Gemini in your 8th house of transformation is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 5th house of pleasure, demonstrating that some attempts to initiate action may actually have led your expectations to have been extremely high and for you to have ended up withdrawn at home at the end. So this is a time with yourself that is inspiring you to pursue new dreamy creative practices. Uranus and Taurus in your 7th house of partnerships indicates that your security in relationships is found in having an eccentric partner, or perhaps someone that you consider to be maybe a partner in crime. Moon and Libra in your 12th house of undoings is in opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 6th house of health. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, which represents your subconscious desires, in the beautiful sign of Libra, to make you aware of how your tendency to daydream may be influencing your ability to maintain your health and routines. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, and the beautiful sign of Libra, to make you aware of how your tendency to daydream may be influencing your ability to maintain your health and routine goals. This is all I have for you, Scorpio. If you enjoyed this reading, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for more content, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye. Sagittarius. Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in your 5th house of pleasure and creativity. You are likely feeling very fulfilled and overjoyed with unlocking a new level of partnership in your existing or new relationship. If you are single, then you likely reached a new level of self-love. You have healed from old wounds enough that you can fully enjoy the present moment when engaging in your creative practices. Mercury and Neptune are in your 4th house of home and family. When these planets transit the 4th house, it demonstrates that there are changes occurring in the way that you communicate with your household members and in the acts that you do at home to find solitude. Neptune has been in your 4th house of home and family since February 2012, and it will be there until 2025. So you likely have been feeling a need to be comfortable in your space and to adorn precious memories or souvenirs, photos with luxurious displays for quite some time. Now that Mercury is also in your 4th house of home and family, you are also being called to take more short trips with your family and to open up the communication with your extended relatives and community. Mars in your 7th house of partnerships is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 4th house of family, indicating that some impulsive acts and gossip within your community may emphasize your desires to retreat at home and to reflect and meditate on how to fix these miscommunications. Uranus and Taurus in your 6th house of health and routines demonstrates that there are external forces causing you to restructure your usual routines to accommodate time for them. It may make you feel insecure because it's out of your control, but you're encouraged to remember the benefits of change as they can lead to growth. Moon in Libra in your 11th house of friendship is in opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 5th house of pleasure. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, in the beautiful sign of Libra, to make you aware of how your acts to please yourself and your partner may be influencing the persona of you that your friends see. I hope you enjoyed this reading, Sagittarius. If it resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for future content. I look forward to seeing you in a future reading. Take care. Bye. Capricorn. Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in your 4th house of home and family. You have found healing at home, and so you desired a more balanced home life and family relationships to maintain your feelings of being at ease and holding natural confidence. Your relationship with an existing or new partner may be ready for the next chapter, whether it's moving in together, getting married, or starting a family. If you are single, then you may be interested in a partner who can be available to provide support and comfort to your family. Mercury and Neptune are in your 3rd house of communication. When these planets transit the 3rd house, it demonstrates that you are likely acquiring specialty trainings in communication and or the healing arts, or you are interested in enrolling in such a program. Neptune has been in your 3rd house of communications since February 2012, and it will continue to be there until 2025. So you have been socializing about the metaphysical and the mystical for quite some time. Now that Mercury is also in your 3rd house of communications, you are called to sign up for courses that pique your interest and to coordinate Skillshare activities within your social network. Mars and Gemini in your 6th house of health and routines is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your 3rd house of communications, which demonstrates that your attempts to implement a new self-care routine may be challenged by your desires to take on more specialty trainings and to meet with your social group. Uranus and Taurus in your 5th house of pleasure indicates that you seek pleasure through odd, creative engagements. It provides you with security, and it may become a source of income. Moon in Libra in your 10th house of career is in opposition of Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 4th house of home and family. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, in the beautiful sign of Libra to make you aware of how healing your home life may be building a foundation for you to achieve successes within your career. I hope that you enjoyed this, Capricorn. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for future content, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye. Aquarius. Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in your third house of communications. You are embracing your social life and your love life as it reminds you of how far you've come, including recognizing all that you have healed from. Your love life may be ready to take to the next level if you're in an existing or new relationship. If you're single, then your self-love has grown as you've perceived yourself and your value in third person, from the perspective of your immediate friends and family. Mercury and Neptune are in your second house of values and security. When these planets transit the second house, it demonstrates that you have found confidence in the way that you communicate and that you may attract abundance through your artistic and dreamy skill sets. Neptune has been in your second house of values and security since February 2012, and it will continue to be there until 2025. So you have been becoming more comfortable with dealing with having a heightened awareness of historical injustices and the potential for life after death for quite some time. Now that Mercury is also in your second house of security, you are called to raise awareness of causes that you care about, so both you and the cause are fulfilled by the influx of social support. Mars and Gemini in your fifth house of pleasure is squaring Neptune and Mercury in your second house of values, which demonstrates that your impulsive acts of pleasure seeking may be challenging your ability to focus on raising awareness of the causes that you value through storytelling methods. Uranus and Taurus in your fourth house of home and family indicates that you find comfort in the quirky behaviors of your family, close friends, and those in your living environment. Supporting the abnormal passions of those in your environment may lead you to more stability in income. Moon in Libra in your ninth house of knowledge is an opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your third house of communications. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, and the beautiful sign of Libra to make you more aware of how speaking up for yourself and your loved ones may lead you to a relevant discipline in education, such as social work, activism, or creative writing that will allow for long-term community outreach. I hope you enjoyed this reading, Aquarius. If it resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for future content, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye. Pisces. Sun, Venus, and Chiron are conjunct in your second house of security and finances. You have found healing in building a stronger relationship with yourself and in your relationship to your partner if you have one. Your nature to act from a place of healing will bring you much satisfaction and material abundance during the time that Sun, Venus, and Chiron are in your second house. Mercury and Neptune are in your first house of self. When these planets transit the first house, it demonstrates that your efforts to communicate and bring light to dark issues are getting attention. Neptune has been in your first house of self since February 2012, and it will continue to be there until 2025. So you have been very receptive and open to universal teachings and inspiration for quite some time. You have been cultivating stories and creative works through your dreams and inspiration. Now that Mercury is also in your first house of self, you are called to express your visions to an audience through verbal and non-verbal forms of communication. Mars and Gemini in your fourth house of home and family is squaring Mercury and Neptune in your first house of self, which demonstrates that your flighty actions and discussions with others in your home may be challenging your ability to connect with yourself and to receive messages from your subconscious mind. Uranus and Taurus in your third house of communications indicates that you are able to manifest abundance and security through eclectic forms of verbal and non-verbal expressions, such as dance, storytelling, painting, music producing, and more. Moon in Libra in your 8th house of transformation is an opposition of the Sun, Venus, and Chiron in your 2nd house of security and finances. The Sun, which represents identity, is illuminating the Moon, your subconscious desires, in the beautiful sign of Libra, to make you more aware of how your feelings of self-love and security may be influencing you to retreat within, to channel divine messages from Spirit that are worth sharing. I hope you enjoyed this reading, Pisces. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for future content. I look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye. And if you've stuck around to the end of the recording, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way. If you made it this far, please let me know. Please leave a little purple heart in the comment section because I really do appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.